being here because I see a world of colors, a world of beautiful women out here who are so enthusiastic and energetic. So let's start with a round of applause for all of you. Thank you so much. So before we speak about my topic for today, there's a little thing your President, Ms. Sureka, wanted me to share with you. It's a great surprise for most of you. So apparently I'm told that in certain tables or certain chairs, there is a gift that has been kept. So there's some lucky ones. So I don't know who the lucky ones are. So I would like you all to just check. I think it's there are about 22,000 rupee notes that are kept, and the winner gets it. So I'll just give you 30 seconds because let's not eat into my time. So very quickly, if you can check if you are the lucky one, and then claim your prizes. Very quickly, please. So thank you so much for that. So like you know, my dear ladies, the talk I'm going to share to you about today is WTF, what the finance. Nothing more, just going to talk about money matters, right? But I'm going to make it very simple for you and share with you easy, simple things that you can follow, be it in your personal finances or if you're having that entrepreneurial spark, you can use these concepts in whatever that you want to plan. So are we together? Are we ready? Can we go ahead? Yes, all right. Thank you so much. So, okay, before even I get started, we all have read or heard about Mahabharata, right? The epic. Now, what was there in Mahabharata? We had the kings. They were the kings for some time, and suddenly things turned around. And from the palace, they had to move to the forest, right? That's what happens. If you do not manage your money properly, you could be a king one day, and you could very soon become a pauper another day. So that is why managing money becomes something important, be it in business, be it in your personal life, right? So with that note, what are we going to be learning today? The top 3 things we are going to learn is to see how you can enhance your financial awareness. We are also going to be talking about how you can go about setting your financial goals, and I'll also share with you some easy steps so that you can manage your finances better. So this is the 3-4 things that we are going to be discussing for today. So, like I told you, you can be the king and you can be a pauper, and that's so easy. So let me share with you 5 easy ways by which one can get broke. Like we know, buy unwanted things. Let me share this example. I don't know how many of you read this book, The Psychology of Money. So in that, there is a very interesting anecdote that the author has shared. Singer Rihanna, Right? Most of you know. Yes. So apparently she sued her financial advisor, saying, you know, you have not helped me manage my money properly, and that's why I'm broke. And you know what the financial advisor tells her? I'm sure you know that if you go ahead and buy things, you'll be left with things and not the money, right? So buying unwanted things that are probably not needed makes you go, boom, broke very easily. And then of course there are many people who love to show off. Oh, I'm so rich, I have a beautiful luxurious car, I have a beautiful home, and so on and so forth. Then of course they will be broke very easily. Third thing, having an extravagant lifestyle. I need to have the best things in life, yes, no doubt, but at what cost? So that's something one needs to think about. Borrowing. Borrowing beyond your capacity. Now what do I mean by capacity? The repayment capacity. If you do not have the capacity to repay your loans, what's the point? But of course, we have attractive things like your credit card and other things, and the banks who call us and say, you know, get your loans right away. Of course, it is to tempt us, and we sometimes tend to fall a prey, but it's important to realize and know what is your borrowing capacity, your repayment capacity, and of course being reckless with money, not being caring about how I have money for today, let me live for today. So if you are somebody with this sort of an attitude, you need to be careful so that you know you have sufficient money and you know how to go about managing your financial situation. So, you know, if you're too heavy, what do they say? Let's get on a diet. So let me talk to you about going on a financial diet so that you are in good shape and good with the figures and the numbers that you have. Let's start off with financial goals, because unless you have a goal, it's not going to really propel you further and not going to help you move ahead in what you want to achieve. So the first is financial goals. I'll talk a little more about this in my next slide. And then I will also say it's important to have a financial budget, because a budget tells you, it helps you to plan. It helps you to plan your money, how much ever money you may have. It tells you how to go about managing your money, gives you a clear idea on how you plan to utilize the money that you have. And more importantly, remember this important thumb rule. You can only control the money out, because the money that comes in is not 100% under your control, right? So therefore, doing the budget will give you a clear picture, a good clarity on how you need to manage your money. Of course, who wouldn't like maximizing income? Because once you start getting more, that means you also have the power to spend more. So therefore, see what can be done to maximize your revenue. Extra something that you could do over and above the job or in your business. If you could diversify into related areas, that's going to help you. So you need to see what are the different ways by which you can maximize your income. And of course, how you will be controlling the money out. We will see a little more on that as well. And what sort of mindset do you have? Do you really have a financial mindset or not? Because a lot of things depends on the kind of mindset that we have. Let me share this real life example. I used to live in Africa. So Africa for about 8 years. So when I went from India to Africa, it was a huge cultural shift for me. And there was something very strange that I noticed. What was that? The locals there, irrespective of whichever position they were in, they could be the junior most or they could be the senior most. By halfway through the month, they would be broke. And they would come to, the expatriates like us and then come and say, you know what, I don't have money to have my food. So can you please give me some money? I was quite surprised with this because initially I thought probably the junior guys were not paid very well. But that was a similar story with the guys who were earning very well as well. So what was really going on in their minds? They used to live just for the day. So if they had money, they would just go and spend it. They would buy expensive suits. They would go do their hair, right? And spend it in other things, and before the month ends, before they get the next salary, they were not left with money even to have a good meal. So your financial mindset, your financial awareness, do you really know how your money is? Because the human mind is such that if I have sufficient money, and I see something good, yes, let me pick it up because I have the money. We do not tend to think beyond. And therefore, I would like you to take a pause and see what is the financial mindset that you have. So let's talk about goals, setting your goals, the financial goals. So I'm an acronym person, I love sharing acronyms, and here is an easy acronym that you can share so that you can remember it easily. How many of you like the cartoon Tom and Jerry? Yes, me as well, yes. So you remember Tom. Remember Tom as a name, and Tom is the acronym. So what does T stand for? It stands for the time frame. What is the time frame within which, what is it that you want to achieve? So set yourself a time frame. It could be a short-term time frame, a medium term, and the long term. Like how Mr. Mahadev was saying, every 5 years he does something. You could set yourself, it can be 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, but you can bucket them as short term, medium term, and the long term, so that the short and the medium then go in sync with your long term goals. So T is your time frame. O is your objectives. Now with the money that you have, what are you going to do? What is it that you want to achieve, right? So having an objective gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you the drive to achieve what you want to drive. So having an objective. Why is it you want to do something? Like Simon Sinek says, start with why. Because unless you have a goal, you're going to be like a headless chicken. You're going to be all over, okay, I have money, I'm going to spend it, I like this, I like that, I'm going to get it. So having a clear objective, the larger objective is going to help you. And of course, M is to measure. Like they say, measure what matters. So if financial management is something that's important to you, important to the business that you're planning, you need to measure yourself on a periodic basis to see how you are in relation to your goal. How are you stepping up? How are you progressing, right? So remember Tom, your time frame, objectives and measures, which will help you set your financial goals. Now let's move on to talk about money management, your finance management. I would like to share another real life story out here. What happened many years ago in a little village? Narrow roads, and there were these two little boys who were playing out there in the roads. Suddenly, they noticed a huge, beautiful car that drove down into that little narrow lane. They are amazed to see such a thing. They are awestruck, jaws dropped, and they're looking at this car because they've never seen something so big and so beautiful. So the owner parks the car and then he gets into a house. So these two little boys who are playing on the road, they are so fascinated seeing this. So they're going around the car, they are touching it, feeling it, and like saying, wow, this is so fabulous, this is so big. So just then the owner had finished his work, he steps out and he sees these two little boys who are playing there. He was angry seeing them because these kids were touching his car. So he started abusing them and shouting them, saying, get off my car. Don't mess around with my car out here, just go and do your stuff. And he was being very harsh on his two little boys. Now the same story, the same incident, what transpired in the mind of one boy? In his subconscious mind, he's been saying, oh, these rich people, they are horrible. Look at the way he can't even speak politely to a little child like me. Is this how they behave? I I don't like these people, such attitude issues they have, and therefore I don't want to be rich. Because rich people are like this. Now, this is the blueprint he had told himself as a child. Now look at the other boy. What went through his mind? He's like, wow, this car is so beautiful. And this man is speaking to me like this because he owns such an amazing car. When I grow up, I will get a car better than this. I want to have all the luxuries and I want to be driving a really good car much better than this. Now, this is the blueprint the other boy had fixed in his subconscious mind. Fast forward the years, what happens? The first boy who said, I don't want to be rich, never managed to be rich. Because that is what he had programmed his mind about. He was having difficulties in job and he would always be in debt and struggling to make his ends meet. Whereas the other boy, he was living in a very plush house, leading a plush lifestyle, beautiful cars, lovely home. And he was able to attract abundance and attract more money into his life. And therefore, I say the first thing, the foundation of managing your finances is nothing but your belief system. What sort of relationship that you want to have with money, or what is it that you have set as a relationship with money? I would like you to just take a moment's pause and think and reflect. What is your relationship with money? Because if you were somebody like the first boy, it's time you reprogram your mind and see how you can get better with your managing your money by changing your belief system. So that is an important thing I thought I should share with you. Your money behavior. I will again like you to think about the kind of money behavior that you have. Because you may have noticed, there are people, somebody who's extremely generous, right? Even if they do not have enough money for themselves, when they see somebody, they are ready to go and help them. On the other hand, you have seen people, somebody who's so stingy, who will not even spend a 5 rupees or a 10 rupees on even themselves, forget others. They don't even like spending on themselves, right? So you have different kinds of money behavior. So what is your money behavior? Are you somebody who goes and gets something on an impulse? Or you're saying, no, I'll buy it, one day I'm going to buy this, right? So what is your money behavior? A very important concept for managing your money. First is your savings. Your savings, what comes first? Because whatever money that you're getting, right, ensure first you're setting aside whatever is the amount that you want to save. The balance you can spend, right? So first, put your savings, it can be a percentage, it can be a fixed amount, whatever it is, how much you want to save. Put that aside and then spend what you have, because like I said, it's very easy to spend when you have the money, but if you have the discipline to put aside the money that you want to save, then it becomes a lot easier. So what do you do with the savings? You go ahead and ensure you invest it right. What sort of investments? It can be anything that you want. It can be stock market, it can be your gold, it can be a land, whatever, but ensure you're investing it right. Okay? And very important, you need to know the difference between an appreciating asset and a depreciating asset. What is the difference? Now let's say you bought a car, a new lovely car just 2 months ago. And if for whatever reasons you have to sell it now after 2 months, are you going to get back the same amount? No, exactly. So then the car is a depreciating asset. So what is an appreciating asset? It could be gold, it could be land, right? Appreciating asset is something, the value of which keeps increasing. So learn to know the difference between your appreciating asset and your depreciating asset, because that is going to give you more insights on how you should be investing, right? So get to know that difference. So let me also just touch upon the spend management. How? Because like I said, you can only control your money outflow and you can't really control your money inflow. So, few quick things that will help you is check your purpose. Before spending on anything, why is it that you're planning to get something? What is the benefit that you would get out of it? And again, like I said, what is your spending pattern? Is it that you're just going and getting it on an impulse? What is the thought behind that? Learn to prioritize, whichever is more important. I remember I gave you the example of my experience in Africa. So go ahead and see what is your priority. First things first. Like I say, the basic is of course your food, clothing and shelter. And then your loans, your income tax, right? Because otherwise you're going to be put behind bars. So ensuring you're there with those things. And then of course comes your investments, because out of your savings, you're going to be investing in what is required. Also, I would encourage to set aside some money for a reserve, right? Because in case of an emergency, in case of any rainy day, there's some pressing need for which you have a reserve which you can take and use. And thereafter, whatever you're left with, you can go ahead and splurge and do what you want. So therefore, knowing your priorities, getting your priorities right is important. And if you want to be a little more disciplined, you can set yourself some limits and ensure that you're not indulging in anything unwanted, and thereby you're eliminating those things. So you may ask me, this is easily said than done, so tell me a little more. So I say, are you being mindful or are you being mindless? Because if you're being mindful with your spend, okay, let's talk about mindless. If you're being mindless with your spend, you are spending it randomly when you don't have any financial goals. You're being very impulsive and you're indulging in things that are not really essential, unwanted, right? Those extra pairs of shoes, especially if you have a foot fetish, I'm one of them as well. So things like that we tend to go and indulge. So when are you being mindful with your spend? When you are being purposeful with your spend. You're doing it with a lot of awareness, saying, yes, it's not that I'm just about going and getting something. I'm doing it with a lot of awareness, and it has a utility value. Real proper utility value for you, for your business, for the family, and so on. So think and see whether you're being mindless or whether you're being mindful. So that's a food for thought for you. So if you're the category who's not really that mindful, how can you overcome it? First, identify your weakness. Like the foot fetish example that I gave you, what are your areas of weakness? Because if you know, okay, this is my weakness, your awareness increases, and therefore you become a little more financially aware of what is happening. And then, are you the kind who loves instant gratification? I did this and therefore I'm going to go get this. If you fall into that category, learn to step back and say, this can wait. I will get this probably next month, right? I want to lose those extra 5 kgs, and after I do that, I will probably go and get myself something that I want. So it depends on what it is. Of course, when you feel emotional, right? When you're emotional, you tend to spend more, you tend to eat more, right? At least I am in that category, right? Yeah, I see many heads nodding, yes. So when you're emotional, probably that's not the best time to go and eat. Similarly, when you're hungry, right? That's not the best time to go shopping. So like I say, prepare a shopping list before you're going, because many times we tend to deviate and go and get unwanted things and break free from whatever habits, your money spending habits that you have. So revisit them, see how you can do better and go about getting it. So again, the reason I'm sharing all this is, I would again like to share a little story out here about a family that I knew since my childhood. The father was a very successful businessman. The family was very prosperous. They were doing very well. So the kids, he had 2 boys, they They didn't really have to study much or slog much because everything was taken care of. Nice bungalow, nice cars, nice people working for them, everything was set. Few years down the line, the father was aged and he passed away. His two sons took over the business. And what happened? They never had any financial goals, they did not know how to manage money, and slowly the business went up. They had a fight with each other for the family property, for the business, everything went on a spiral, and from the financial status where they were, everything went below. And why? Because like I said, they did not have financial goals. They did not know how to manage money. They did not really take care of what needed to be done in a business. And those are sure guarantees for the business to go bust. So therefore, be careful, be aware of what you can spend. So then you may ask me, if I have to be so careful in everything that I'm spending, when can I get my Lamborghini? Right? When can I get that expensive outfit and the other beautiful things in life that I want? Definitely, life we live only once. So we have to enjoy and satisfy our mind as well. And therefore, I speak about something called the principle of essentialism. So what is that? All your money outflow, right? You can classify them in three different ways. One is highly essential. Another is non-essential. Of course, these two are very clear because if it's highly essential, you will be getting it. And if it's non-essential, you know that you do not want it. But there's something in the middle that's like essential, the one in the gray area. You want it, but not that it's highly essential, but then the mind wants it, right? So of course, there's no point in depriving yourself. So therefore, how does one strike the right balance? So what I say, whatever is your money that's coming in each month, for instance, either a fixed amount or a fixed percentage, you can set aside just to go and splurge the way that you want. So you know that you have this particular limit that you've set yourself, and therefore with that you can go and indulge yourself in whichever way that you want. So by fixing that, you're not going overboard, you're not being very cringy with your money, at the same time you are not being extra lavish. So setting the midway and knowing how you need to manage will help you satisfy yourself at a mental level, and at the same time you will be financially prudent as well. So that is something that I would urge you to follow. And lastly, you may think, okay, and especially women, I have noticed, there's so much of aversion when it comes to money and money matters because we love to give all what we earn to our family. It could be the father, the husband, brother, son, whoever. We love to give it to them to manage it for us. But it's also important for us to be knowing a little bit on how we can manage the money in the most prudent manner. So like I said, I will give you another acronym. I say, go mad. So you're probably wondering what mad is. So M is your mindset. Like I said, what is the financial mindset that you have, and how exactly, if you're going to think, I don't like finance, this is not my cup of tea, it's boring, it's challenging. Yes, that's how it would be for you. But if you can shift your mindset and then say, okay, no big deal, I'm going to crack it, I know how to manage it, and if you can shift your mindset there, that's going to help. A is acceptance. Many times we don't like something because we are not that good at it. So if you can accept, okay, I'm probably not at that level, but I know very soon I'm going to get there and work towards it, that is going to make a difference. And of course, the D is how to accept, because once you've accepted, you have to work about it. Therefore, you develop your skills, right? You develop your skills so that you know how you can manage things better and achieve mastery. That is going to help. So, mindset, your acceptance and developing the required skills is what is going to make a change. So I would also like to tell you, I'm a TEDx speaker. I have spoken on what the finance, a wallet romance, right? So it is there on the TED channel, so you can go ahead and you can hear it. I have shared many different things, so feel free to go watch it. And of course, these are my books. What the Finance talks to you about how you can go ahead and manage money, especially from a business perspective. Where's the moolah? Moolah, like we know, is money. So, how can you manage money during these challenging times? That's what the book is about. And Get High is how to coach yourself for high performance in whatever that you do. So, it gives you a lot of tips and tricks on how you can go about. All the books are very practical. It gives you the challenges and solutions, and it also has a lot of real life finance stories, right, of how people have gone about managing it. Yeah, they are all available on Amazon, hard and soft copy. Yes, I also have my YouTube channel. I keep sharing different things on finance, leadership and high performance. You could subscribe to it. And yeah, so if you can find me as the Gain Enabler, that's my social media handle. That's my Instagram. There also I keep sharing. I'm active on LinkedIn. You can connect using this scan code. And I'm on a mission to enable, empower and elevate businesses and leaders, because I think if they do well, in turn everybody else will do. What is the financial impact that you want to create? Because I truly strongly believe that having and impacting financially will result in much better results, not only for us at an individual level, but at a community level, at a society level, and definitely for our nation, right? Our nation can become much more better financially. And I also believe that money in the hands of good people makes this difference. So if you're somebody like that little boy in that story who thinks that I should not be having money, it's time now to reprogram your mind, because money, when it's with your hands, in the hands of good people like you will go make charity, you will go contribute to the nation building and ensure our country is in a much better financial position. So that is what I wanted to tell you all, and with that, thank you so much, and I am open for any questions.